Hey guys, welcome to our channel about all things real estate.
We're two realtors in North Texas, and we're teaming up to share our expertise and tips with you.
So be sure to tune in, like, and subscribe.
My mom, when we were house shopping for their house, was so big. Like, the only thing when she heard HOA, she could only think of that commercial that's out there when it's like this extremely strict HOA. And I think her name is Karen, so they went there with the whole Karen thing. And they she had pots hanging from her porch, and Karen was like, "This is not regulated," and she just sniffed them, and the pots fell in the mailbox. She's like, "This is not regulated." She took a bat and hit it down. It was hilarious.
Oh, Lord.
I wish I could remember that commercial. If I find it, I'm definitely gonna stitch that into the video so you guys can see. Hey guys, today we are going to talk about HOA, the pros and cons of having an HOA, what it is, everything HOA. So if you are interested, stay tuned. We're going to go into it with a quick overview. Leave any questions and comments below.
Yes, so HOA, Homeowners Association. So those are becoming more and more popular here in Texas. So you want to know what you're getting yourself into when thinking about moving to a community that has that.
Yes.
So I will say, as we talked about previously, Texas is trying to keep up with the market. There's so many people moving here. The population's growing. We're not building the houses fast enough.
Right.
Exactly. So, a lot of this is coming from our new development communities. So 9 times out of 10, most of those will have an HOA attached to it.
Yes, absolutely. Now, a HOA is basically a governing structure that's going to be for these planned communities and development communities that just sort of help keep people in line. As we talked about
rules and regulations.
previously, home ownership is not just fun and giggles all the time. There's a lot that goes into it. So the HOA is going to keep people in line. They're going to make sure that my neighbor,
keep the community looking good.
Exactly. My neighbor doesn't drive down my value with their mess that they got going on. Everybody has regulations to follow.
So let's start out with the pros of being a part of an HOA community. So I would say the most number one thing is the amenities that HOA offers. Depending on what community you're looking at, different HOAs can do community pools, community parks, gyms,
the little studio areas that you can rent out for parties sometimes, like a clubhouse, parks for the kids.
Exactly. And not to mention, there was this one really nice HOA out here in Wiley, Texas, this community. They actually were building a lazy river. So it was a big water slide park.
Ooh, I've actually seen a lot of these water parks. Texas gets hot, so it only makes sense. It only makes sense. But that leads us into the pricing of these things, which, you trade off. That's a pro to have that, especially if you're a family with younger kids. You want to keep them busy during the summer. And if they stay in the neighborhood, that's just one thing less you have to worry about. I know where my kids are. They're safe. But with these water parks, that does drive up the price. For example, I know a neighborhood really well because a friend of mine lives there. And I've looked into purchasing into the neighborhood, and it was one of the biggest HOAs I've ever seen.
Oh, what was it?
It was about $780 semi-annually.
Oh, wow.
So $780 twice a year. Which breaks down, into your monthly mortgage, so it's fine. But still, there's some pretty cheap ones for about $100, and there's some that can go up to like $400 a month. So you want to definitely pay attention during your home buying process. Your agent will let you know, there's an HOA. Usually we can find, get in contact with the HOA if the information's not provided and figure out pricing. But it definitely can make a factor.
Exactly. And, speaking about that, it's really something that you want to keep in mind. Long-term plans, whether you plan to live there for however many years until your kids are grown, maybe you want to sell and move to another community, because that HOA is a for life fee. So it doesn't go away once your house is paid off. Your house can be paid off and you still will have to pay that HOA, every year. So it's definitely a fixed amount that, and it could change from year to year, but they'll give you notice if it does. But that is an amount that stays there. It doesn't go away.
Yes, absolutely. Or, decline over time.
Yeah.
So as Natalia mentioned, Texas is one of the parts that has a larger HOA presence. I would say about a quarter of the U.S. population, which we found off of the article we're checking out from Community Associations Institute, a quarter of the U.S. population deals with HOA. So by region, 33% of homes in Northeast have an HOA, 50% in the Midwest have an HOA, and then 75% of the West and South, which is us, have an HOA. So just to keep it out there for all of our national viewers, if you want some more information, we can connect you with people all over the nation. So just reach out.
Yeah. But back to
another
few more pros. Yeah. So yard maintenance. Now, depending on the community, there are some that do offer that lawn maintenance. So to where you're not having to get out there every 2 weeks or every month. So they do offer that, and it's built into their price. So you don't have to worry about that. A downside to that, is the communities that don't offer the lawn care maintenance, they still require you to keep up with it. Your yard can only be so many inches high. Everything has to be neat and well kept. So definitely some things to think about.
Absolutely. So trash pickup, in the fall when the leaves are just falling like crazy and you can't keep up with it no matter how hard you try. All of those things are definitely pros to having an HOA, especially to someone like me who I'm like, I'm not doing it.
And then also street maintenance. So sidewalks. Now we know you can put in a request to the city for any street or sidewalk repairs. And they'll get to it when they get to it.
I was about to say, but how long does that take?
Exactly.
They have too much to be concerned about than the pothole on your street.
Exactly. So when you're in an HOA, that's something that they can definitely address faster than just putting in a request to the city. So potholes in that neighborhood, the street is cracking up, or whatever the case may be. Typically an HOA can address those concerns a lot faster than a city can.
Absolutely. That's what you're paying them for. And they have a conflict resolution helpline sometimes. So if you have a
neighbor complaints,
troublesome neighbor who is always bumping that music, loves the barbecue every week with their whole entire family, and it just ends up being a lot. For me, one of my personal pet peeves is when there's cars all over the curb. Because if they're on both sides of the road, I'm just like, how am I supposed to drive down this thing? I'm always afraid of a kid popping out on a bike, or it just makes it, and a lot of HOAs don't allow that. So that's why it can be a pro to have someone else be the meanie, telling people what to do.
Exactly.
So let's go over the cons.
So some cons about the HOA, which you already mentioned, the price. Now, all prices vary. It really depends on the city, that area, what they're doing in that community, the different type of amenities that they're offering. So it really just varies. But I will say that is something that you have to keep up with. If you do not, and you default on paying those HOA fees, then they could actually put a lien on your house. And who wants a house lien?
Nope, we don't want that at all.
That means you can't even sell it because the title will not be clear, or they'll require you to pay that amount before moving forward. And then, all in all, it's like the house will not belong to you if you do have that lien. And God forbid it goes into foreclosure. That's just not something that you want to experience. So definitely you have to keep up with that HOA payment, whatever it is.
Absolutely. So other than that, a lot of people, I feel like Americans in particular have a hard time being told what to do, So a lot of people view an HOA as, the commercial I mentioned. Oh, I can't have, potted flowers all over like I want. I can't build a jungle in my front yard like I want. I can't paint my house bright orange like I want. All of these things are restricted usually if you have an HOA. Now, of course, like we said, everything varies. Some HOAs are just like, please, do
you know,
your best to keep things orderly.
Yeah.
But there's other HOAs,
some really strict ones.
that have their own color scheme and
they really care a lot about that exterior. So they're not going to tolerate any drastic color changes that may bring down the value within that community.
Even down to the porch door that you want to install that may not be approved. The garage door, you want it to be black instead of white, or you want it to have windows or something like that. It may not be approved. So before you make any of these home upgrades or renovations, you would want to check with your HOA, because you don't want to waste money installing and then taking it down.
And there is always a full-time person on staff where you can call and get that sort of general information. So it's not necessarily you got to bust out the paperwork and read line for line what you can and what you can't do. Typically, if you have a general question, you can call that HOA office and they will be able to help you if they know it right off the top of their head, or at least point towards the section that within the HOA rules and regulations where you can get that information from.
Absolutely.
And then another thing that I ran into with some of my past clients was the type of fencing for the backyard. So you may not be able to do board-on-board fencing or chain link fencing. So it's just some stipulations. You may be only able to do board-on-board on a certain side, on the south side, and not the north side. So
and
definitely
height requirements.
Yes,
and it's crazy what can be that specific.
Yes. So definitely want to keep an eye out for that. And then also, if you are purchasing a vacant lot that is a part of an HOA and you are getting a custom builder, the first thing you want to do is give them the HOA rules and regulations, set up a meeting with that builder in the HOA. That way, when they are building your house and there's certain type of materials that they're unable to use as a builder, that way they have that relationship with the HOA, and the builder knows exactly what they can use and what they can't use.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You got it covered, girl.
All right.
So
well, that sums up the pros and cons of being a part of an HOA. Again, feel free to subscribe, like, and comment below. If there's any other questions you have that we missed, feel free to email us at allthingsrealeestatetx@gmail.com.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye.